Welcome to the Activate Your Divine Power podcast. If you're a badass light leader who's ready to break free from fear, lack, and limitation to shine your unique divine light bright, then this podcast is for you. I'm Lisa, a divine power healer, activator, and speaker on a mission to help you uncover your soul's truth and fully own your divine power. To boldly create a life you love on your own terms, raise collective consciousness, and help us birth a new 5D world together. As a 5-1 manifestor, expect to be activated into greater consciousness and transformation as I dive deep into our collective shadows, unveiling profound truths and perspective shifts to reveal the light. Thank you so much for being here and doing this powerful work with me. And without further ado, let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Activate Your Divine Power. So in this episode, I want to talk about how to quantum leap by identifying your deepest subconscious limiting beliefs, because it's so easy to assume that what's going on the surface is the real reason or the block that's causing the problem in your life or your business. But in my experience, I've identified over 3,000, and the list is ever growing, subconscious limiting beliefs, feelings, programs, and misunderstandings. And I can assure you that that's never the case. So I wanted to do an episode that gives you my process for how to identify the deepest subconscious limiting beliefs you have, as well as an example to demonstrate how this actually works, in reality. So to start with my process, I've broken it down to 7 steps. So step 1 is to identify the surface level trigger. So the best way that I found to do this is journaling. So journal on the current challenge or the situation and your mindset around it. Because when you put pen to paper, or even when you're talking out loud, if you tune into the words that are coming out of your mouth or you're writing down on the paper, it is literally your subconscious mind talking to you. People don't realize that they're walking around just giving away everything that their subconscious believes if you really listen to the words. So obviously, if you journal it, you can see the words. So that is step 1, is to journal on the current challenge or situation and how you're feeling around it, because you'll literally be able to see on the page where your subconscious mind is at. And then obviously step 2 is to reflect on what you've written. So what you'll find is there'll probably be a few sentences or phrases that are more kind of surface level that you can pull out. So you can, when you look back at it, you can go, just tune in and be like, okay, that's feeling quite limiting. Is that really true? So, pull out those couple of statements. And then step 3 is to use your intuition to distill down those sentences or phrases into a single statement, which encompasses the essence. So this is where you need to start kind of using your intuition. So pull out those 3 sentences or however many and be like, okay, what is it that my subconscious is really trying to say to me now? What does it really believe? What's kind of like the energy that links all of these phrases together? So that's step 3. Now, step 4 is continue to refine that statement. So what you want to do is you want to make sure the statement is as short and as zero fluff and as punchy as possible. And you want to make sure it strikes a deep emotional chord. So you want a statement that is literally as little, as few words as possible. And when you say it out loud or when you think about that statement, it kind of like gets you in the gut and goes, oh, okay, that feels like a challenge. So that is step 4, to refine that statement, to just take out the fluff. Step 5 is when you have that subconscious limiting belief statements, I want you to ask yourself why this is a problem for you. And again, to focus on how it makes you feel. And step 6, once you have that, is ask yourself why you feel that way about this subconscious limiting belief statement 5 times, each time going deeper. And then step 7, as you keep going deeper and deeper, be open to something illogical or abstract popping up. So we're not just looking for limiting beliefs that come from this lifetime. So it won't necessarily make sense. And this is where you have to bring in your intuition as well. So, open up your heart space and just allow this information to come through. So a belief, a feeling, a program, a misunderstanding, just open up to something illogical or abstract, because it could be from a past life. It could be ancestral trauma passed down through your DNA, or collectively held belief, which is obviously my personal favorite. And then when you've gone as deep as you can, that is likely to be the deepest subconscious limiting belief. So to put this all into context, I wanted to give you an example so that you can see it working, in real life. So a couple of years ago, I was having a freak out. So I'd been together with I call him my divine life partner, for 8 years. So as a quick background, we met on a blind date. We went traveling 6 weeks later and we started a business together. So for 8 years, we were literally living and working together 24/7. And then I had my spiritual awakening in 2020. And that kind of threw the cat amongst the pigeons, because I realized that the business that I'd been growing with my divine life partner, Hadrian, it was a fashion brand. And I started to realize it just wasn't aligned. Like, it served the purpose, because the fashion brand was all around something that was wanting to be expressed through me. It was my soul expression that was trying to come out, like my creativity, kind of how I want to represent myself, the badass light leader on a mission to raise collective consciousness. I don't resonate with looking like a spiritual person with no shoes on and a floaty dress. That just isn't me. And that was what the brand was all about. It was like this badass woman on a mission to live life to the full and to do good in the world. And that was pre-spiritual awakening. And then I had my spiritual awakening and I was like, oh, okay, there's so much more that's going on at a deeper level here. But I started to realize that actually having the fashion brand wasn't aligned. So I then started Theta healing. So a friend of mine trained as a Theta healer, and for 2 years I received that. And then I decided that I loved it so much that I wanted to become a healer myself. So basically that's what happened, and we decoupled from the business. So that was painful. That was so unbelievably painful, because we'd met on this incredible whirlwind blind date and we went traveling straight away together. We dreamt up this business idea that was, it was our baby. It literally was, we don't want to have kids in this lifetime. So it was our child. And then all of a sudden I'd had my spiritual awakening and I was like, I don't think this is aligned for me anymore. And it was so obvious that I was supposed to be working in healing and in the speaking and activating. And he was also like, well, actually, there's probably other things that he's more passionate about. If he was to start his own business completely on his own, it would probably be in a different industry. So we came to that conclusion. But the bit that was kind of, oh God, it was so heart-wrenching at the time. And it sounds dramatic, but when you spend 24/7 with someone for 8 years straight, it's like the equivalent of being married to someone for about 20 years, I'd say, because, most couples who are together, married, one of them will go to work, they won't see each other for the majority of the day. So we'd been together the whole time. And the time had come that he was going to move out of the flat. So where we'd been working together, into his own studio space. And this was the trigger. The trigger was that I was feeling really sad. I was feeling so sad because I absolutely loved working on building our business and our dreams together. And even though I knew it was the right thing to do to kind of go separate ways, I was still really sad. Like, it was just, it was so emotional. So this is where I was like, right, obviously I'd already been receiving Theta healing for a while. And I think this was about the time probably when I trained as a Theta healer. So I was really identifying my own beliefs. And actually for half the time, me receiving Theta healing, about a year in, I started going to my Theta healer with the beliefs that I'd already identified during the week. And that's not normal. Normal, it's the Theta healer gets to identify the beliefs, but I just loved it. I loved digging down into my subconscious mind to kind of discover what was lurking. So I started to journal on why I was sad that we were going to be spending so much time apart. So this is where the whys come in. So why? Why was I sad that we would be spending so much time apart? The first why. So, sat there, thought about it, floated up. Because we got to spend time together and co-create our dream life and business. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Second why. Why? Because we won't be able to do that now. So obviously he's going to be out the house for the majority of the day. Normal couples, they go to work separately. We'll see each other in the evening. So, that's the why. We won't be able to do that now. Spend that, all of that time together. Third why. sat with it, realized it was because we need to spend time together to be able to co-create our dream life and business. Okay, that's an interesting thought. So that's what came to me. And this is why your subconscious mind, it's often completely flat out wrong, because this conditioning that we've had for thousands and thousands of years, it's not true the majority of the time. You know, we have so many limiting beliefs. We are programmed to be limited. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to break free from all of that. So my third why was because we need to spend time together to be able to co-create our dream life and business. Okay, obviously the business, we don't have that anymore, but our dream life, you know, lots of couples go to work in separate locations and they have two income streams, and therefore they're able to co-create their dream life together because they've got two income streams. So that's quite interesting that my subconscious believes that we need to spend time together to be able to co-create our dream life. So anyway, next why, fourth why, because spending time together is how we know and understand each other deeply and keep our connection. Okay, so again, not necessarily true, but you know, we'd spend 8 years together 24/7, and I'd conditioned myself, maybe also past life, you know, we've probably had many past lives together, and I'd conditioned myself to believe that we need to spend all of our time together to be able to know and understand each other deeply and keep that connection. So again, that is pretty limiting. It's also, I'm going to call it out, super codependent, super codependent. So, you know, that is something that I've really had to work through, going through this kind of decoupling of having one business and then having separate businesses. So that was really interesting to me to sit there and go, okay, so basically my subconscious believes that if we're not spending all of our time together, then we are going to lose our connection and we're going to lose that depth of our relationship that we have. Okay, fifth why. This is the big one. This is the illogical one. So I was sitting with that fourth one and I was like, right, okay, spending time together is the only way that we can know and understand each other deeply and keep our connection. Okay, why is that? And then all of a sudden, boom, it landed. Because the third dimensional physical plane is the only dimension that exists. Now, as you can see, we've gone from something that is like, okay, I'm sad that he is going to be spending time away from me. So obviously my ego is like, oh, you know, codependent, sadness, blah, blah, blah. But then at the same time, what's underneath all of that is a complete and utter misunderstanding that the 3D physical plane is the only dimension that exists. And therefore, when he's away from me, physically away from me, and therefore we're not physically connected 24/7, then basically we're not going to be connected anymore. I'm not going to be able to know him and understand him, and we're not going to be able to co-create our dream life together, blah, 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 because my subconscious was believing that we didn't have a connection beyond 3D physical plane, that I'm not an energetic being, that he's not an energetic being, that we're not connected when he's out and about and I'm at home, or vice versa. So all of a sudden I was like, holy what's it? That is mad, because that is not just showing up with him. That is showing up in my entire life and now my own business now. So obviously the first thing I did was to muscle test that. So I can't go over it in this podcast, but there are ways to muscle test what your subconscious believes. So the 3 different muscle testing methods that I use with my clients are the sway method, the finger in the hole method, which is the one that I use. I love that one. And then also a pendulum. So there are many other methods as well, but these are the ones that I recommend. So, you know, try out these different ones, look at them online. I have a video as well, YouTube. So 3 different ways to muscle test what your subconscious believes, because when you get that root belief and you muscle test, your body will tell you whether your subconscious believes that, because your subconscious is held in your body. So when you muscle test and you get a strong response to a statement that is a limiting statement, you know that your subconscious believes that. So I then went to muscle testing. So I muscle tested in any level. The 3D physical plane is the only dimension that exists. And I knew it was a yes before I even muscle tested it, because it's literally your subconscious speaking to you when that happens. So I knew it was a yes. And that is the amazing thing, because once you know what the root cause is, you're then halfway to being able to clear it. And obviously, being a healer myself, I was able to do that. So with my own process, I blend theta healing with guided visualization. So what I released, just to be clear, I released that the 3D physical plane is the only dimension that exists. The 3D physical plane is more important than other dimensions. And I fear physical disconnection from Hadrian. So these were also beliefs as I was muscle testing that first core one about the 3D physical plane is the only dimension that exists. I also got a download that the 3D physical plane is more important. And then obviously I fear physical disconnection from Hadrian. So I then released those through my own process of blending theta healing with guided visualization. And then I also instantly rewired my subconscious to replace them with the 5D highest and best, most expansive and empowering beliefs. So I replaced those with other dimensions beyond the 3D physical plane exist now in the highest and best way. Other dimensions beyond the 3D physical plane are of equal importance now in the highest and best way. I brought in that I understand creator's highest and best definition, perspective and understanding of the different multiple dimensions beyond the 3D physical plane and their relevance and importance and how to work with them now in the highest and best way. I also brought in that I remain connected to Hadrian across multiple dimensions in the highest and best way now, without fear of being disconnected from him in the 3D physical plane. And I also brought in that I know and understand Hadrian across multiple dimensions now in the highest and best way, without needing to be physically with him 24/7. So as you can see, it's like you get to that root belief, but there are also kind of like other beliefs tangled in it around it. But once you get that root belief, then you can start really kind of tuning in and being like, okay, so if I was to remove this limited belief and replace it with the most expansive, empowering belief that would unlock me from this cage of believing that I'm just trapped in 3D and there's nothing beyond it, what would I bring in? So they're the ones that I chose to bring in. And just to say as well, in my healing activations, it is instant everywhere healing. So this healing is done across all timelines, aspects, dimensions, realities, levels and languages, which is why it's so powerful. So I didn't go through it, but what I normally do is I affix in any level for any limiting belief that I'm releasing. And then I bring in the most expansive, empowering beliefs, starting with on every level, because these different levels relate to where the belief came from. So you have core beliefs, they come from this lifetime. You then have genetic beliefs. So these come down through your DNA. You have historical beliefs that are collectively held, past lives, older genetic beliefs beyond 7 generations back. So much, much older. And then the fourth one is soul level beliefs. So they're the deepest beliefs. So when you're muscle testing a belief, just affix, if it's a limiting statement in any level, So in any level, the 3D physical plane is the only plane that exists, and then muscle test, because it doesn't matter where the belief has come from, but you just want to identify if it's there. And obviously I'm talking now about how to heal those beliefs. But right now, really what I wanted to do was just demonstrate the process for identifying your deepest subconscious limiting beliefs, because they are abstract. And when you find a root subconscious limiting belief, all of the surface level leafy beliefs just automatically fall away when you release and you heal that root one. So for example, on the surface, I could have said, okay, I fear being away from Hadrian, or I fear missing Hadrian. But that's irrelevant, because having released that the 3D plane is the only plane that exists and bringing in that we're now connected on a multi-dimensional level means we're connected on the quantum level beyond 3D reality. And also, we were never actually apart. Technically, we all are connected in unity consciousness. So just releasing that belief and bringing in the download just brought so much inner peace into my life. And you don't even have to do the release and the bringing in a new download to find that inner peace. Just identifying the belief is already starting to shift it. So identifying the belief and saying, you know what, if I could heal this, what would I switch it to? So unless you've been doing subconscious healing work for a long time, that is unlikely to shift on its own, but just becoming aware of what it is that is limiting you and then what you would want to shift it to, the most 5D, highest and best, most expansive, abundant belief, it's already starting to shift. And like I said, there is a high chance you are going to need to see a healer or do some healing work on yourself, whatever it is that's going to shift that energy. And you can always muscle test as well to make sure the belief has gone, the limiting one, and also make sure the download has come in as well. And having identified, cleared, and reprogrammed over 3,000 of these, what's insane is that I now don't need to do the healing aspect. I've trained my subconscious so that once I've identified what the root belief is and what I want to change it to, 70% of the time it shifts. And I can literally muscle test 5 minutes later and the old limiting belief is not there anymore. And the new download is there because my subconscious knows that once I put my finger on it, it is a goner. It is a goner. So I think for the mid to kind of like 70% down into my subconscious mind beliefs, those just instantly go. And then the really deep ones that I still find from time to time, I do need to do the healing around those. So I'm not saying that they all just magically disappear by thinking about it. But the thing is, we can train our subconscious mind to A, show us what it believes, and also B, start training it to start working with us. And when we identify what is limiting us and what we want to replace it with, it can, because I've seen it on me, instantly shift. So that's the thing. The more you do this work, the more you build a dialogue between your conscious mind and your subconscious, and you develop your intuition. And also you show your subconscious mind that it's safe to reveal the deepest subconscious limiting beliefs, programs, feelings, and misunderstandings that have been holding you back so you can heal them. So I think to summarize, what I want to say is the external trigger or feeling is just never the root cause. Never. So doing this deep work to dig down just creates faster and more powerful transformation in all aspects of your life, because that belief, the 3D physical plane is the only one that exists, like that is impacting me across my entire life. And then this is the thing I've noticed, who I project most of my stuff onto is Hadrian, because he's the closest person to me. So you know, he gets all of that fear and everything is projected onto him. So whenever stuff is coming up around him, I always laser focus in on that, because it won't just be about him. It's about my wider life. So it's such an important thing to do, to learn the process of, okay, I'm being triggered. How can I get down to the root subconscious limiting belief here? Because it is saving you so much time. So much time being able to identify the root belief, because when you do that, all of the leafier beliefs just fall away. And then you can just crack on with being the badass light leader you came here to be. So if you resonate with me, you are here on a big mission, and we're not here to spend all of our time just healing behind the scenes. We've got to balance that with being visible, being out there, being the badass light leader we came here to be, and doing our soul purpose work out there. So my love, the good news is that after digging down and identifying over 3,000 of these things, I have done the hard work for you. So if you're interested in going deeper on this topic with me, I am going to hand you on a plate the deepest, most abstract, collectively held beliefs that are likely blocking you from fully embodying and owning your unique divine energy and your unique divine power. So these are at the root of all human suffering. So they're at the root of you believing that you are not worthy and you are not enough. So as I was saying, that I've been on this journey for 4 years now, digging down to the deepest beliefs. And what I've done is I've distilled those down. So part 1 of my healing activation, called Activate Your Divine Energy, that is going to help you remember, reconnect, and fully own your unique divine energy and divine power. And then part 2 is showing you how to command, manage, flow with, expand, and protect your unique divine energy. Because when you do that, you can create your soul's desires. Everything your soul desires, you can create that. Because when you're in your own unique divine energy, so your own unique frequency of all that is, you are able to magnetize everything that's meant for you. So you can experience health, wealth, abundance, and success beyond imagination in every area of your life. So I have many of these healing activations that are going to be coming out in divine time. But I wanted to start with this very, very deep foundational one because it is at the root of all human suffering and us believing that we're disconnected from divine source. So I'm so passionate about this because I'm like, if everyone did this, the world would look like a completely different freaking place. So this is why I'm so passionate about it, because it's not just creating healing in your own life, but it's also you playing your part in raising collective consciousness and helping us co-create a new 5D world as the badass light leader you came here to be. Because if you resonate with me and you resonate with the fact that I'm here for collective healing, you know that you're not just healing yourself, but you're also helping us heal the collective wounds. And these limiting beliefs, programs, feelings, misunderstandings, these are all held at the collective level. So when you heal yourself, you really do heal the world. So I'm going to put a link in the show notes to that healing activation if you want to check it out. So grab that there, my love. And just a reminder that at the end of the day, the deeper we go, the higher we rise. And I know you are here to heal and rise and ascend in this lifetime and to play your part in raising collective consciousness and helping us birth this new 5D world of unconditional love, unity consciousness, freedom, abundance, and joy for all. So thank you, my love, for being on this journey with me as we navigate all the highs and lows of this magical earthly plane. And I just invite you to take whatever resonates from today and apply it in your life. And if nothing resonates, that is okay. Leave it here. That is your divine prerogative. So if you've loved this episode, please share it with a fellow soul sister or brother. Tag me on Instagram with what you loved from today, and you can DM me with any questions. I'm a manifestor in human design. I love hearing the impact I've had on you. And also please consider subscribing and leaving a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening to just help get the word out there. I would appreciate it so, so, so much. So thank you so much, my love. Until next time, I love you so much. We've got this, and together we heal and rise. If this episode has served you in any way, I ask you to please share it with a fellow soul sister or brother to help them heal or create a higher, more expansive perspective. Please share and tag me on Instagram at houseofguilt.co with any key takeaways, any downloads you received, or what you loved from this episode. You can also DM me with any questions or feedback. As a manifestor, I love hearing the impact I've had on you. Your support truly means the world, and I'm beyond grateful to have you as part of the Guilty Soul Tribe of badass light leaders co-creating a new 5D world together. So thank you so much from the bottom of my guilty gold soul. Please consider subscribing to this podcast and leaving a 5-star review so we can continue to evolve and expand together. I love you so much. We've got this, and together we heal and rise.